What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast. Today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 30. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Josh, wonderful. As always, I'm going to preface this with a question to you, and then I'm going to answer first, like a true professional. And I'm going to let you have time to simmer and stew on my great question of the week.
Okay.
What do you think, or what do you know, is the worst injury that you sustained to yourself or almost sustained to yourself?
Of my entire life?
Yeah, like that sticks in your brain like, I really could have fucked myself up here.
Okay.
So, number one for me was I used to have a real shitty car that didn't always start. And I was working at one of my many retail jobs, and it was winter, cold as shit. I had to the car wouldn't turn over. My boss was nice enough to hang out with me and try to help me out and be like, well, open the hood. Let's see what's going on. See if something's loose, spark plugs going, whatever. And for whatever reason that night, I had not like basic leather gloves, but like the heavy duty gloves that like landscapers wear, or like people that deal with concrete all day, like the real dense, like leather padded thick ones you'd use at like a shitty retail job.
And you had yours for kidnapping.
Yeah. I took mine. I had to go underneath the rope to grab my gloves.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's so cold out there. I was like, my hands are fucking freezing. I'm putting these gloves on. So they're kind of oversized and don't really fit me the best, but I have them. So I'm looking in the car with my boss. We get the car started, and he wanted to check one more thing. So when he was pointing into the car to me and showing me something, it was like a conversation of like, look back here, or like double check this, or look down here. I put my hands down in the car and I heard a noise, and I jumped back real quick. I must have put my hand in the fan blades in the car.
Holy
but luckily
crap.
I had the leather gloves on, and they were just oversized enough where I touched the glove to the fan, and that was enough to have a reaction to it before my hands actually touched the fan.
Whoa, that's crazy. You almost lost some fingers.
Yeah, so that was a good one. And
Yeah.
then at my old house, for whatever reason, I was trying to be handy. I might have told this story before. I was trying to be handy, and a bunch of the outlets were upside down. Were like the 3-prong outlets, the grounded UFI ones. That, for those that know or don't know, it's the 2 slits that most power goes into. I guess if you're in the US, and the ground's like the little prong at the bottom, which helps negate energy, power, or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, the outlet over here is upside down. I want to fix this. So I took the panel off of the outlet, and I was like, oh, this is simple. I'll just take the outlet out, turn it, and put it back in the wall. So I put my fingers around the outlet socket, or whatever you want to call it. I grabbed it. I would jump back, and my whole arm felt numb. And I was like, oh, that was weird. And I was like, did I poke myself or something? Like, what did I do? I did it a second time, did it again, and my arm was fully numb at that point. And I looked to the person that was in the room with me, and I was like, she was a nurse or a doctor or some mix in there. And I was like, do you know why my arm just went numb? And she's like, yeah, you probably touched the actual electricity. I closed the circuit on my fingers in the outlet, and I got my whole arm shocked. And
I love that you went back for more. Like you got shocked once, and then you're like, let's try that again, and you did it again.
I wasn't sure.
That's great.
Because the first time was so quick that I just didn't realize if I did something else stupid and just something shot through me or whatever. But I did that one twice. And the more of all this, and why these stories came fresh into my brain. So I'm a pretty big proprietor, that's a hard word, of not reading books. But recently, Josh, I've been reading a lot of books, mainly all the Five Nights at Freddy's books, and we're going back to this. So the main point of this is almost every story, or most of the stories in those books, are tied to person does mechanical work solo, and then an animatronic kills them, or something goes wrong because they weren't following directions. They thought they could fix something quick, even though they couldn't.
Oh, so it's like slasher movies where it's they're also weird morality things. Why are these kids out in the woods doing drugs? They deserve to die. That sort of a deal. Okay.
So eventually, as I read more and more of the Dumbo short stories, they're Goosebump stories, basically. Almost none of them have happy endings, and almost all of them end with a moral conundrum, or something to think about going down the road. Like, so one of the random ones I read was the guy was like, I grew up a loner. You know, I always enjoyed being alone, but I have to go fix the robot that helps pull people through like the big hamster tube play pit area thing.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, like the last line of the story is one of the robots tried to pull him through the tubes because that was the robot's job and he was stuck. And it basically like squished him through the tubes and the jelly. And the last line was like, now that he knew he was dying, he was happy that he wasn't alone finally. And it's just like a weird morality thing of like, don't be happy being alone, be happier with people or something stupid like that. I don't know.
Okay.
It was some weird one. But the point of this was, so I've been doing a lot of wood cutting around my house, like cutting down some extra trees, cleaning up the area. And I bought a small electric wood chipper. And normally, like, I shouldn't be trusted with such things, but there's like a 2-inch gap for, like the gap for the wood is like a 2-inch diameter. So you can't put huge things through. You can put little things through it. So this is fun to me. It's very destructive. So I jam things in there, and then a lot of times things get stuck. And instead of like just using the tools that come with it to unjam it or sticking another piece of wood through, I usually just push my hand into where the chopper is to push the things through. Because in my mind, I'm like, this is the gap of how far the blade goes. I know where the blade is. And I was like, I'm not going to touch it. No big deal. So I got it stuck I got it jammed once or twice. And the one time it was jammed, I was looking at it. The power was on, the electricity was on, but it was jammed. And I opened it enough and I looked at it and I was like, no, idiot. It's jammed. It's not broken. It's not turned off. So I go through and flip the switches off and make sure everything's off. Pull the plug out just in case. So in my mind, I'm like, I learned something from the Five Nights at Freddy's books. I learned that I need to be safe around like electricity and blades, especially solo, because I might hurt myself going down the road and something bad could happen.
Yeah, otherwise they'll kill you.
Yeah. And it's funny I thought about this because at one of the times when I wasn't jamming it, I definitely smacked my hand against the blade.
Oh my God.
And that's what made me think of putting all this together. I was like, ha ha ha. If that was on, I would have fucked my hand up. And I thought of the other times I almost fucked my hand up. And then I thought about like the fact that I read these dumb books every night for children. And that somehow taught me to turn the power off to a wood chipper. And I saved my fingers that day because of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Dude, this is like Final Destination. Like that.
Like I tried doing it to myself though. Like I'm actively setting the traps. It's not Death coming for me. It's Toby coming for Toby.
But like you were supposed to lose those fingers way back when you had those heavy gloves on, and now the universe has conspired to give you a wood chipper. I don't see how you come out of this with all 10 digits. That's all I'm saying.
And that's the worst part because all the things I like to do, like basically like put together Legos, play video games, or type, this all takes my little fingies, and I'm gonna lose them someday.
When you have your inevitable wood chipper incident, it's basically music. That's the only hobby you've got left anymore.
Become a professional something. I don't know.
Although I think I can still force you to watch Kamen Rider because that doesn't involve fingers. I think if I send you the links to download the files, then you're still good.
As long as I can click, or as long as I can like modify my mouse to use like elbow power, or like just like fists, just like slam my fist on the desk and make it do things.
Here's what we do. We'll get you one of those cool straws that Christopher Reeves has to control his wheelchair, so you can control your mouse that way. You know what I'm talking about? You just blow on it.
I do. That's such an aggressive like solution to this mini problem.
I love the idea that everybody would come in and be like, "Oh my gosh, is he like paralyzed?" Like, no, he's just an idiot. He lost like half an inch of a finger, and then for some reason he uses this paraplegic chair.
I'm only missing like a pointer finger, and like I just wave to people like, "Hey, this is my cool computer. Check this out."
Yeah. So the electrocution part of that reminded me when I was a kid. This is the most like growing up in the late 90s or era like country thing, but like we had an old refrigerator growing up, and it had an ice maker in it, and there was something wrong with the ice maker. And if you would reach in to get ice and touch anywhere around like where the ice was produced, it would shock you like intensely. And like I knew it would do this, and the first time it happened to me, then I got I got my ass shocked real hard. Told my parents like, "Hey, I think there's something wrong with this. Like I think it's messed up." And I just got the like, "Yeah, it's fine, just be careful." So then that thing shocked me probably like 40 times throughout my childhood. And it was just like, well, we're just not going to get a new fridge because that's not what you do. You don't get new things. So that's probably not great, is that I received a whole bunch of electric shocks throughout my childhood. But the worst thing I think that has ever happened to me physically is I broke my arm when I was probably, I don't know, like 5th or 6th grade, somewhere around there, I think. Because I was at school, it was recess. We were playing tag on the playground, and I was chasing someone, and the person ran up the playground equipment and jumped off sort of the tallest point where like the ladder opening is, but they just jumped out and jumped off. And I was chasing them to do the same thing, but I tripped before I got to the edge. So I went out the ladder opening head first, and I fell probably 8 feet to the mulch face first. So obviously, you put your arm out to save yourself. And so I broke my arm doing that, which was not fun. But the funny part of the story is, like, and I maybe you've told this on a podcast somewhere before, so I apologize if I have. But the like aide or whoever was out there with us, like, took me inside, and they like sat me in an empty classroom with no one else with me, and in the dark. So I'm sitting there with a broken arm in the dark alone. My mom came to pick me up, and she said that when she got there to get me, I still had mulch wedged in my ear from where I had fallen when I was outside. So like, I didn't go see a nurse, nothing. It was just like, just mulch wedged in my ear, sitting alone in the dark with a broken arm. So she was a little upset with how the school had handled my my broken arm situation. But yeah, that's probably the worst thing that has happened to me.
And then, so your fridge story reminded me. Every once in a while, I definitely talked about this before. I go to like a farm sanctuary to chill. The one time we went to visit a different one, it was a one-time thing, a special trip, and for whatever reason, it was like the shower in the little room was a super small stall, and I'm tall, so I was like, it's not really aimed for me. I'm gonna adjust the shower head so the water sprays up towards my head and not so much like towards my face. So I touched the metal part of the shower head, and my finger started to tingle. And I was like, this is really weird. And the same thing as when I freaking grabbed the outlet in the house. I thought about it, and I was like, is that just something weird? So I put my fingers to it again, and I felt the tingle again. And I was a little bit smarter this time. Sure, I did it twice, but I was like, there must be like a weird electric current running nearby this, or something weird is not connected properly, where I was like, I'm definitely conducting electricity through the shower. I'm not going to touch this again if I can deal with the water.
This is I guess the electrocution episode, because so we
no
were
fingers, electricity.
Yeah. We were traveling a bit this past week, and we stayed at an Airbnb that had an indoor pool, which was actually awesome. Like, it was like this cabin. It's like 3 floors, and the bottom floor of the cabin was like an indoor pool, like a private indoor pool. So that was super, super cool. But the last day, it was storming in the evening. And like, okay, this is like my last chance to do swimming. Like, the kid really wants to swim, but it's storming outside. It was like, we went through the process of like, are you allowed to get in the water in an indoor pool if it's a thunderstorm? And we Googled it, and it's shockingly inconclusive. I spent probably 20 minutes like scouring the internet trying to figure this out. And so basically, like, YMCAs oftentimes will make people get out of the indoor pool if there's lightning, or if they hear thunder, and they make them stay out for like 30 minutes until there's no more thunder. Other public pools do not do this. So I tried to look up, like, is it actually danger? Is it just like a superstition type thing? And basically the answer is, like, people think it's not really an issue. Plumbers don't think it's actually really an issue. The way that they design pools, it shouldn't technically be an issue. But then everyone is also always like, yeah, but lightning's crazy, so who knows?
So the things that always thought was tied to the pool thing, and granted, this was probably some younger kid brain mixed with older person brain now or whatever. If you have an above ground pool, you're surrounded by metal. I understand getting it out of those when there's water.
Yeah.
If you're in an in-ground pool, it's literally just a cement pond, and you're in literal ground. Like there's dirt and ground around you. So I would assume that was safer, and I always treated that as a little bit safer. I mean, I was also a dumb kid, like loved the pool, so whatever. But I would assume that was better. So like to me, the same vibe would work the same way for an indoor pool where there's ground around cement, and I don't know how the electricity would get in there. Not done, but I guess maybe like through the window. Who the hell knows? Some odd thing like hits the pump outside and shorts out the pool, or
so that I did read that shouldn't be possible. Like the pump portion of a pool is supposed to be, there's a term for it, bonded or something. Basically, it's impossible for the pump to feed back into the metal parts of a pool, like by design. That's how a pool is created. That's one of like the regulations when you're putting in a pool. But again, like lightning can do crazy stuff and jump and stuff. But we also were figuring like, yeah, we're also like not like the tallest building by far around here. Like it's probably all okay. But it was a real funny, like, I don't know if this is dangerous or not. Like it, you know, we're inside, but like it feels like it shouldn't be allowed. Like I'm in a body of water and there's a thunderstorm happening. It feels like something should be wrong. But yeah, we had to go through that whole fact finding mission.
But so before we can start the real episode of this, mini shout out at my dad's old house. He built I guess it's like an extension. Like if you put a root, like put another floor on top of your building, an extension, a new level, something. So the house, thank you. That's what I was looking for. So the house itself was basically a rancher. So one floor, there was a basement to it that had a spiral staircase going down to the underground basement. And then when my dad built the addition, he ran the spiral staircase up to his room. So basically it was 2 stories of spiral staircase in the house. At one point when my little brother was little, he managed to fall down the first step of the spiral staircase.
Oh no.
Fell all the way down both spirals of staircase and made it to the basement and was completely fine. So he didn't even get hurt. But I wanted to give my little brother a shout out for making it down 2 flights of spiral staircase. And
that is incredible.
On this accident driven day.
Yeah. Dude, my uncle put a spiral staircase in his house. And he was doing it to basically save some space in his basement, so that the staircase wouldn't stick out kind of in the middle of the room. So he did this spiral staircase that's like way tiny and spirals really tightly, so it would fit in the area. And that's basically what my brother's was. That's why I think he get super hurt. Because it was so like it was such like a tight spiral. It's more like probably like I didn't see it. It was probably more of like a slide or like it wasn't big steps or a lot of room to fall off. It was just kind of like, okay, we're going down now. So like I literally don't fit in my uncle's like spiral staircase. Like it's too tight for me. And like the one time I tried to go up and down it, like it gave me this crazy claustrophobic feeling and like it's like touching me on all sides. Like I literally go outside to go up and down floors at his house if I'm there. Like I will walk outside and go in the exterior. So yeah, I don't agree with spiral staircases. So you'd mentioned showers. I was gonna bring this up. What's your shower setup at home like? What's your shower head? Describe it to me.
It came with the house that I'm in. It's some sort of copperish looking Moen faucet where it has the irritating part is the water controller is just the farther you turn it, the hotter it gets. And apparently like someone put a restrictor on that shower head where it can't get past a certain heat, which really pisses me off when it's cold out. And then the rooftop itself, or not the rooftop, the shower head itself matches, but it's just like it has like 4 or 5 settings attached to the wall. I do like the rain all over me setting.
Does it have like the detachable shower head, like with the wand situation, or is it just the shower head?
Like the master bedroom one is not detachable. The one in the shared bathroom that actually has like the full tub and stuff is. And the old house I had a detachable one too, because I think those are 20 times better.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we have that at our house here, on like all the showers, and I have gotten so used to it that like when I'm traveling, most of the time you don't have a detachable shower head when you're traveling, and I feel like I can't get clean. Like I was like I'll finish a shower and be like, I don't feel like I did a good job. Like I didn't. I need that detachable shower head. I need to get in all the places and. I need to really spray that hot water in all my nether regions, and that was unfortunately this trip, Toby. So it's one of those things where it's like you don't really need it, but then when you have it and you start using it, you get kind of addicted to it. It's like chapstick, right? Where it's like no one really needs chapstick for the most part, but you start using it and you just can't stop using it.
Mixed with that, I'm gonna call it sensitive to hard water or soft water. And I'm so used to, I guess it's soft in the house where like everything foams up real nice. You get a nice clean shower. You feel clean afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
The places that have hard water that like don't get soapy and just feel like sticky and disgusting after.
Oh yeah.
I hate going on trips to those places because then like I will literally feel dirty no matter what. I will feel dirty for the entire X amount of time I'm gone. And I will have to jump in the shower when I get home to feel like I cleaned off like a professional.
Yep. Exactly. I'm with you there. Toby, let's jump in the shower that is Kamen Rider Gavv, and let's wash off with discussion of the newest episode, shall we?
Sure.
We're gonna talk about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 30 this week. Of course, before we do though, we want to remind you that we do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you can find that. If you like our nonsense and would like some more of it, you can sign up over there. $3 a month gets you access to all of our bonus content. We are typically watching Super Sentai and a Kamen Rider. Right now we are working on finishing up Kamen Rider O's. We are watching through Gozyuger as well. So we got a lot of stuff going on. You get to watch those with us, hear us talk over them, and it's a good time. You get access to the Discord and all sorts of other stuff too. So $3 a month gets you in the Patreon at patreon.com/thecommentwriters.
If you want to get rinsed for your hard-earned money or money stolen from your parents, our Patreon is a great place to clean some funds.
Yeah. If you need a laundry service for your bills, this is how it works. You don't get those bills back, but we get them, and they get clean in the process.
Yeah.
And you get yucks for the low price of $3.
I actually think the people are the cleaners. Like
Okay.
We're not cleaning the money. The dirty money is going through our wonderful Patreons, and they're cleaning the money for us.
Okay.
So we're not involved in the money laundering because someone else is cleaning the money, and then they're like just using it from their day-to-day life. So we can't be tied responsible for when it gets back to where it came from.
I think Jack Conte, the CEO of Patreon, is the launderer. He's the one who's handling the dirty money.
Yeah, there you go.
And he's taking his cut of the dirty money, and he's handing the rest of it off to you and me.
It's double cleaned. It's like when you I spilled some spaghetti on my shirt, and that first rinse doesn't like get it all out.
Yeah.
And you just scrub it a little bit harder, and that second time it looks brand new. He's the second rinser.
Exactly.
The grassy knoll.
Does it ever weird you out that one half of the band Pomplamoose is the CEO of Patreon? Does that news ever keep you up at night?
I haven't thought about Pomplamoose since they came out in like 2009.
Oh, okay.
But that's good to know.
Jack Conte, one half of Pomplamoose, is the CEO of Patreon.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's a weird, small world situation there.
Does Pomplamoose have a Patreon?
Probably. I don't know. Like,
you think he can exempt their channel from getting like double taxed? Like,
no.
Can he be like, I own this. I'm not taking a 30% cut off of this.
I doubt it.
That's
I'm going to see if they have a Patreon right now. Pomplamoose in the studio making a French record. Yeah, they do have a Patreon. You could join it for free or $5, $10, or $50.
What's
$50.
Yeah, what's on the...
We should add a $50 Patreon tier.
Your name in the credits. Your name in the thank yous. Download stems. Okay, so let's try to like even like we'll try to find parity between us. So Discord
Okay.
access would do that. Your name and the thank you end credits on YouTube.
We can
That's
do that.
easily doable. Download stems and instrumentals and all of our music.
You can do that. Yeah.
So I guess the difference would be
You
like
get
we'd have
access
to
to
just
each of our tracks. You get the Josh track and the Toby track.
but we'd have to like filter those out separate. Like we'd have to
Yeah.
be able to like have those be overlaid their own way.
I can do that.
Behind the scenes videos of us in the studio. So I guess we could like turn the webcams on before we start talking and then just stop when we start talking and be like, hi Josh, and I'll wave to you and be like, this is what I do before we start. I'll take a swig of my water and look around the room like, what the hell am I doing with myself? Hear demos of songs we're working on. I guess that's just the watch and reacts. We only have demos.
You can have like 20 minutes of me pressing the keys on my synthesizer.
Yeah, that,
you know,
or
and
when
working on some songs.
or when we do like the unboxing things. And
Yeah.
whenever we do the video stuff where like I unbox with Josh, I completely forget how a computer works every time, and I panic, and like I talk out loud to Josh, but to myself of like, okay, clicking play here, minimizing this, recording here. So I guess
everyone gets the 10 minutes of tech support that it takes to get you all set up and going. Yeah.
You can hear that. And then early access to tickets when we play live shows. So sure, I guess if we ever have a live show, you can have early access.
Exactly. Yeah. I think this is all very doable, and I think totally worth $50.
Especially like the stems of our audio tracks. Because like we made a joke before of like, what if one of us just talks like the other is there and the file doesn't come through? Like the one episode Josh and I fucked up where I didn't record myself. Like we could have just posted that. And it's just Josh going like, yeah, did you see the what the guy was wearing? Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Wait, what'd you say, Toby? Oh yeah. I saw it too. That was a good story.
Nuts. Just a long pause, just going,
Yep.
Whoa.
Hey.
I would love the idea that someone would sign up for our $50 a month Patreon just to get our separate tracks, just to create a Garfield minus Garfield-esque art piece where they remove one of us from the show.
I would for that amount of money, I would even accept like someone cutting up my audio into making like a dumb song music video out of it.
Ooh, yeah.
Or B, I guess for $50, like if you're gonna try to make me say bad things and cut words together, I guess I can deal with that for the money. Because I can always just be like, well, I gave them the lines. Like, here's where the actual codes come from. I don't know. And I can just get away with it. I get uncanceled instantly.
Look, if we are rapidly marching into a world where AI can create your exact copy of your voice saying anything that you want ever. If someone's willing to give me $50 to make me say awful things, I'm taking that opportunity now, right when I can, because otherwise they'll do it for free anyway. So who cares, right?
And then I can use my AI Toby to just do the bad things anyway. And no one will ever know that like Toby made Toby say it, because they'll be like, that's too on brand. They'll never do that. Why would he use his own AI to say such horrible things?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You got to keep the people guessing.
Always keep them guessing.
For your weird hate comments.
All of a sudden, like, there's gonna be voice, like, audio of Toby saying, like, I love Kuya. It's my absolute favorite favorite show of Kamen Rider. All other riders can die. Long live Kuga. And then everyone will have to decide, did I actually, like, have a turning point this many years into the show? Or do I still hate him and someone stole my voice?
Ooh, we'll never know. We'll never know. Toby, speaking of things that we will know, though, we'll know what happened in episode 30, because we're going to talk about it right now.
45 minutes later, let's talk about Gavv.
So in episode 30, of course, we ended last episode. We're opening this episode with a little confrontation between Lyselle, our new wife of one half of the twins of the Stomach family, Jiip. And she is confronting Shoma and Rakia. And turns out, Toby, she's like pretty powerful.
If nothing else, I've now established that she is not the missing twin.
No,
my face blindness with the blue princess here was solved today throughout the course of the show.
Yeah, we definitely see in this episode that she is not the missing twin, but we also see her crazy Emperor Palpatine-esque lightning fingers. She tries to shoot at Shoma when Jiip tells her that it's the red Gavv. It's the one that I hate. She tries to kill him. Shoma absorbs the attack. He goes into his big giant mode to try to, catch some of the blow and protect Rakia. But both of them are still forced to dehenshin. So one shot from her knocks both of them out of their rider forms, which I thought was pretty crazy.
Yeah, like even the little flash of, I guess we'll call it like crazy blue demon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When she raged out, she turned into. Her power seems awesome. I like the extra magical, I guess, looking part of it, or like whatever crazy thing that's turned into. I'm glad that we now know that even if the Stomach family acts up, there's a nice little solo kill to happen here from the new wife.
Yeah. Clearly, like, this scene was to show us that she's very dangerous on her own. She doesn't need her dad. She doesn't need the rest of the Stomach family. Like, she alone is quite the threat. And of course, after this, she's like, "Well, I'm in the middle of my walk, so I'll see you guys later." And she just kind of like bebops off. So yeah, she's terrifying. Basically, is what that shows us. Back at Sachika's place, they are explaining what happened basically out in the woods with Lascelles, and then they decide that the best plan of attack is to try to focus on the missing people from the basketball game last time, from the kind of rec center from before. So this is a cool scene because it's finally like, hey, everybody's happy, everybody's working together, we're all, at Sachika's place, and we're all like working together on an investigation from the beginning, which is kind of cool. But they head out to do their investigation, and they're checking all over the place, Toby.
All the finest stores.
Yeah. And of course we cut away, so we'll talk more about their investigation in a second. We cut away and we get some more views of the Granute world. And that was really kind of the big focus of this episode, is the inner workings of what's going on over in the Granute world.
I love the Cinderella Castle vibe of this grand palace that the great king of all the Granutes lives in. Like,
it's ornate.
Yeah, it's very close to the edge of like the almost cheap, crappy looking CG or like just computer design in general, but it's pretty good. Like when we watched the end of Boom Boomers and they went in like a fancy church, it still looked a little too fake, and this actually looks spot on. Of like, well, this could actually be a building. It's a little too crisp, a little too glowy, but it could be a real thing.
I think that it works here because like all of the Granute world is so stylized as well. So like it doesn't have to look real. It has to look like crazy. It has to look like Granute crazy. So that makes it all fit in my brain better, at least, and not question it quite as much. But yeah, it's a crazy mansion palace where we zoom into, and we find President Boca, the new, I guess our new big bad guy, the president of Granute World. He's conducting a business meeting, and basically what we see here is he inadvertently gets the person that he's meeting with hooked on dark confections.
I don't think it's inadvertent.
Well, no, yeah, that was the wrong term. He very intentionally, very, very intentionally gets him hooked on dark confections. I thought that was awesome. Like, we've seen evil stuff from the Stomach family, but like using dark confections to manipulate and control your political opponents is like a whole new level of like crazy evil from the Granutes. And it's a very different vibe than the rest of the Stomach family that we've seen so far, at least. Like they've talked about doing things like that, but we've never actually seen it. And here, like, President Boca shows up, and like the very next day, he's like, and then I'll be controlling all these people. He doesn't waste any time, I guess I should say.
I kind of love the fact that it's just like so on the nose with the crazy drug stuff now. where he's just like, here, eat some drugs. These are fresh from me. This is the most delicious. This is the best hit you'll ever have. All right, go out in the world. See you later.
Yeah. Well, like that's kind of the thing with these dark confections is like they're so good, and it's just kind of like food you eat that he thinks he's just getting served like some like tea and crumpets or whatever at his weird political parlay. But then obviously he's too far gone before he even realizes that he's addicted.
I thought it was funny, or like it's an interesting little nod where the centerpiece on the table is a white marble orb on top of a pile of rocks that look like the gummies that Shoma always eats. And I feel like that's on purpose, because I don't know why else you would do it that way.
Yeah, I would imagine that is probably on purpose. I missed that. We get a little bit of like, I'll say lapdog Longo in this scene. He brings in the treats. He's like doing what he's told. And then President Boca makes him assume his human form just so he can watch, which was kind of weird. He was like, how do these keys work? And like, you see Longo sort of like reluctantly become a human to show him. It felt like a weird power move. It was like, yeah, I can make you do anything that I want at any point.
Yeah, between last week and this week specifically, it's definitely a whole lot of power flexing of like, no, you really have no say over any of this shit. Like, you report to me now. You are my dog, kind of stuff.
Yeah. And he starts to explicitly point that out here because he says, I'm excited to use this to control my political opponents, essentially. And he's like, oh, like, I think you had the same idea, right, Longo? And he's like, yeah, but the authorities would really be upset about that. But luckily, I can keep the authorities at bay. So he definitely is like, he's showing the control that he already has over them all. We also see Lascelles show up at their place as well, and she's got a bunch of random trash, basically, from the human world that she's brought her father. She dumps out on the table. He does not like her wearing her human disguise. He wants her to not have it on when she's in Granute World, and she doesn't agree. She wants to wear it more often. He clearly is like using her marriage as political power, and he's hoping that she sort of gets tired of the human world eventually, in all of this. But she is very like staunchly saying like, you can have all the rest of them, but I get Jiip. He's mine.
It's funny. It's like tied to that part of it. I was trying to figure out now, or I'm vaguely trying to figure out now, or whatever you want to call it. I can't tell if she actually, like, there's two ways to take, no, he's mine. And sometimes with the evil stuff, it's, no, I'm going to kill this motherfucker specifically. Or she's saying, like, you can fuck up everyone else whatsoever, but he's mine, with, like, the nice inflection. And, like, you are not going to touch him. Like, no matter what, you are letting him go. Do not touch him, kind of thing.
I think she sees him, about the vibe that I'm getting is that she sees him as like a plaything for her. Like he's my toy. Like I don't care. I will break it
and throw it in the trash when I want to.
Yeah. Like I think she likes him, but in the sense that like she has full control over him, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And of course, then we get to see a scene with Jiip as well. And this was a shocking scene to me. So last time around, we saw that Jiip had the mimic key for his twin repaired. Like it had been broken and he had it repaired. This time, we find out that if you just swap mimic keys, you could turn into the other person. So he uses her mimic key, his twin's mimic key, and then he turns into her and like talks to his dead twin that he now looks like in the mirror. I had no idea that's how their stuff worked. That's pretty crazy, but that opens up so many avenues for like crazy plot, right? Like someone stealing like Longo's his look, or someone stealing Lascelles' look. Like there's so many different things you could do storyline wise if you could just suddenly look like someone else in the show.
Yeah, and I didn't think about like the long-term ramifications of that, but I was definitely shocked too that they could use that as like, oh, I can just turn to this other person. And like, it was like a super nice moment of, oh my God, I miss you so much. Like, I love you. I wish you were still here, blah, blah, blah. But that's when, after he switched into her, and then the new waifu came into the house, like, oh, you're playing with your sister. That's weird. At that point was when I was like, okay, I've now confirmed they're not the same actress.
Yeah.
That was the push I needed when they were both in the same room. It was a little bit more obvious to me that no, they're not the same person.
And Lyselle is also like, she's creepy in this scene because she comes in and she's like, oh, am I interrupting something? And then she sees like that her husband is his dead twin, and she was like, oh, it's okay, just leave it on. Like, I like it.
Yeah, the fact
like,
that she wasn't that concerned about it is definitely kind of weird too. But
yeah, it's very strange.
But again, if her whole vibe is, I like this broken person, I'm going to smash this toy more, I guess letting him pretend he's his missing sister helps with the breaking of, I know he's so fucked up. I know another little point I can use against him. Now that we know, talking this out, that we can trade the mimic things and turn into each other, I can now see her stealing his sister's key, turning into his sister, and then having that be some weird fight, or that's his breaking point or something else. But that definitely seems like a very doable and possible thing now.
For sure. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. I don't know if that's where they're going, but I could totally see that as being an avenue here. Of course, after all of the stomach family drama, we do get back to our heroes, and they are investigating. So the first thing that we see in the investigation is, let's see, Shoma goes to a candy store / coffee shop to try to find this Granute, and there's weirdness here. I don't know if we'll see this like shop owner again more, but he first acts very worried that the old man is missing, and then Shoma's like, oh no, he's a burglar, and then he leaves, and overall the shop owner just seems like very suspicious, I guess. I think that's a loose end that we'll maybe see more of later.
Yeah, so because they were on the quest for the weird creepy guy who'd watch people play basketball and stuff, I was confused if somehow the shop owner was a new Granute guy of like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to cause problems. I thought you were going to come kill me, but now I can still spend time with my family. Because they definitely lingered on the family thing for a little bit afterwards.
They did.
So I guess, I mean, he might just be a Granute, and he was just worried that, oh shit, this kid kills people, or he's looking for me, he's going to fuck my day up or something. And so it was just like, okay, we're still safe now. I'm not going to worry about it. He's not actually looking for me. No big deal. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it could just be that. So yeah, we might see him become a Granute, or reveal himself as a Granute later on. But their investigation is kind of fruitless so far, so they are kind of figuring out what to do next, having some snacks. And Hanto says, like, well, there's another thing we could try. And basically they decide to try to, I guess, get in the mind of the of the person that they're trying to track down. So they're like, all right, so you have, your long day at the basketball games. Where would you go next? And they're like, oh, I'd go to the convenience store. And then they're like, oh, what would I do next after I got the convenience store drink? Oh, I'd go to the bathhouse.
Yeah, so they did a great job of reverse engineering what someone would do with their time.
Exactly. And the bathhouse scene I found to be hilarious because first we have to explain to the Granutes in the room what a bathhouse is. And Shoma is instantly stoked about it.
He's not even like, it's not even that he's like even just pure stoked about it. Part of that is the funny, weird point where he gets real sad after learning how much fun is supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
Because he looks at Login 9 and he's like, oh, we can't take our shirts off because people are see our weird stomach morpher things locked into us. And he's just real sad about it. That seems like a bummer. He should be able to go in. I don't think anyone would know.
Yeah, I think people would, mind their own business. It'd be fine. But he still tries to like sneak in just so he can get a peek at the place, which is so funny. Just, I want to see these naked people. I know I can't go in. I just want to see it. And of course, when he goes in and tries to see it, is when he comes face to face with the Granute in disguise, who actually is like the owner or the person running the bathhouse. So that's where we encounter our Granute again.
But that's a weird duality of life. I feel like it seems odd to go watch young adults play basketball and then go back to the bathhouse. But I guess that works as a loop for life.
I mean, he's living the dream, you know.
I guess he is.
He gets
runs his own business, watches guys get sweaty and then come visit him.
Yeah, he gets all those happy presses that he can sell. You know, he's keeping it going. So Shoma and Hanto chase after the Granute, and I really liked this. Rakia and Sachika are like, you know what? Let's hunt in this place. And Rakia says like, is there a place that's like employees only somewhere? So they find the boiler room, and in doing so, they find all of the presses that this guy had captured recently, and basically are able to rescue those people. Sachika grabs the briefcase full of everyone. An agent does show up to fight Rakia, but they grab the briefcase. So I felt like very smart. A smart way to split up the team was like one of them went after the Granute, and the other ones actually went hunting for the presses.
It definitely just helps confirm the new, no, we're all actually a crew, we're all friends.
Yeah.
Shoma was all excited, like everyone just sits around and can bullshit, and there's no like interpersonal drama, at least within their four at this point. And it was even awesome that when the agent came in, Laga 9's first move was even making sure that Sachika was okay first. And then most of his actual fighting against the agent wasn't even that offensive as much as it was standing in front of Sachika and just making sure that she was okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. Yeah, I like that he cares about her that much already. It's very cute. But she has helped him out a lot already too. So like the two of them being close kind of makes like a lot of sense. They've done a good job of justifying that relationship. But I love too that like so far at least, they are doing a really good job of having Sachika be like very involved in all of this stuff. Like she's not just sort of the person who stays at home and like hangs out at base and makes them food and stuff. She like gets out there and she is, you know, she might not be effective in the fights, but she's at least like very involved. And I think that's cool.
She's definitely super in the trenches with them but still gets like her fun little cute moments of like when Laga 9 ran out or helped save the people. He was like, wow, he henshin, that's so cool. Like, oh, this is so awesome. This is fun to watch or whatever. But she still gets to enjoy like I'm a bystander, but now I know how this works too vibe as well, which I think is neat.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Then of course the episode ends off with a battle. We get to see Shoma and Hanto working together, which has been it's always good to see like that combo. We get to see the frappe version in use once again, which again continues to be pretty cool looking. And they wipe out the Granute, and Rakia also finishes off the agent that he's fighting.
And part of like one of the neat little nods or nudges, whatever you want to call it, during the Shoma Hanto fight was for the first time in what feels like weeks, if not months. Shoma got to hit either you drop the dark confections now or I'm going to kill you, basically. And instead of saying, I'm going to, he like pauses and he's like, we're going to take you out. I just thought it was a fun little nod of like, we are a group now. It's not me versus you. It's us versus you, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was so sick. That felt like it was like a long time coming. And it was like 30 episodes, but it was very cool. Yeah, it was like finally a united front between them. And that was a neat little moment. They head back to headquarters, and again we get some like heartwarming bits here because Shoma's just so happy that all of his friends are together and smiling, and he talks about like, oh, teamwork. It feels really nice. Like this is teamwork's great.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that at least with how the show's geared now, like to use my normal go-to number, call it ending at 50. It doesn't have to. It could be before. But coming into what feels like the build-up to the last arc or the second to last arc, or we're past, at least no matter what, past the halfway point towards the end of the show here.
Yeah.
It seems like the interpersonal drama between like our friend group will not be an issue anymore. So like the ending of, we're all friends, everything works better when we're a team, blah, blah, blah. It seems like that's a nice little like tip or a nod to, yeah, we're done doing this part of this now. We're just going to move forward as a group going forward.
Yep. I think that is definitely the vibe. That's what they're showing us. And yeah, if this episode's, any indication, there's a lot of other freaking drama they're going to have to show us now going on, and all the weird inner workings of the Granute world. So yeah, we need the heroes to be firing on all cylinders, working together, because there's a lot more happening than has ever been happening before. We get our final little scene in Granute world to finish things out, and we find out essentially it's what we've known the whole time, that the new president family, the Jaradak family, is taking over. Lascelles announces, I think, that she is the CEO of the Stomach family, and Jiip is her vice president. And the first thing that Jiip does is send Longo back to full-time procurement duty.
I thought it was amazing he got fucking chumped out of his own business like that.
Yeah,
his idiot brother ruined the whole thing.
Really though, like he had that one moment where he was like kind of scary. Remember he went to Earth and he parted the crowd and he was all so scary and stuff. But like for the most part, he's been a super ineffectual boss. Like his whole thing is just like, wait, what's going on? I feel like every other episode he's in is him having to get like caught up on what Red Gavv is doing and him being like, what? That's crazy. Okay, we'll figure out what to do with it.
Like any good person in power in a corporation, he has no idea what the fuck's going on and just goes,
Exactly.
Huh? What? Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So he gets booted out. So I'm assuming him being in full-time procurement sends him back to Earth, and we get another confrontation with him and with Shoma and the rest of the gang. But yeah, Jiip gets his revenge. Which, probably feels good for that crazy person. Glada, of course, and the rest of the family are quite shocked at this outcome, but not much they can do about it. It seems like
they got out corporated.
They really did. Yeah. And that is episode 30. Certainly sets us off in lots of different directions, and really ramping up the drama of the Granute world. So like warring families, warring factions, people that are at odds with each other. So like bad guys at odds with each other. They're ramping up the complexity of that world. So how are you feeling about that after this episode?
I think this is a really good I'll say restarting point, but it's not really like a restarting point like how Gotcha did a bunch of times. I think this is a really good starting point for what, again, I will assume is the end run here, like the beginning of the actual end, where there's like 2 or 3 different warring factions. 2 of them are internal to each other, so they have their own drama to deal with. And then we have like the good guys on the outskirts who will obviously be doing their own thing up until all the fighting comes to Earth, or until the Stomach family needs Shoma to help take out the new CEO and they can all be friends afterwards, or some bullshit along those lines. Or there's lots of layers that they can play with here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Lots of different things that we can do, lots of different strings we can tug on to tell interesting stories here. And yeah, I don't really know where they're going to go. It's not super, like, they're fleshing things out and adding in these characters and kind of building in these dynamics, but I'm not super sure sort of exactly the path it's going to take to kind of finish the show out, which is awesome. All very exciting. Toby, let's jump over. We got a couple emails this week about this episode that I want to dive into. Of course, the email address is cast@commonwritersucks.com. If you would like to send an email, you could send it over to cast@commonwritersucks.com. Feel free to email about anything that you like, whether it be about the show or asking us questions or anything along those lines, and we will answer them. But our first email this week comes in from our friend Kieran. Kieran's in the Discord, and Kieran, the first line in Kieran's email is, Monsieur, I'm horny.
Wonderful.
Which, if you didn't watch the episode, the Granute says that, declares that he's horny at one point, and then there's a subtitle that pops up that says it's a reference to Fantastic Four 1967 Japanese dub. So Kieran links it and says Fantastic Four is clearly very different in Japan. So here's a few of the details about the 1967 Fantastic Four cartoon in Japan. When it came over, they didn't call it the Fantastic Four. It got dubbed as Space Ninja Golms or some Golmes. And they changed around a bunch of the characters. So Mr. Fantastic was, I guess, Golmes, which is a portmanteau of Gomu, the Japanese word for rubber, and Holmes, as in Sherlock Holmes. So I guess it is pronounced Golmes then. So Mr. Fantastic became Golmes. Invisible Woman they just called Susie, because she's Sue Storm, so that makes
Good
sense,
old
I guess.
Susie.
Yeah. She had her catchphrase is "Disappear, Susie."
That's a good one.
Funny.
That's one for the books. You'll remember that one for sure.
Yep. The Human Torch became Fire Boy, because he's just a dude made of fire. His catchphrase, of course, here as the Fantastic Four, he says "Flame on," but in the cartoon when they dubbed it, he just said "Fire." And then, Toby, the most changed character is the Thing. The Thing, of course, in the Fantastic Four, the big orange rock character who has kind of a very deep voice, typically. They call him Gunrock in Space Ninja Golms. And Gunrock has a high-pitched voice. He was voiced by comedian Keiroku Seki. And his catchphrase was changed to "Monsieur, I'm horny," which apparently has nothing to do with the character. It was just an ad-libbed joke that Seki added during recording, and it became a running gag. So that sounds insane. Apparently other character names were changed as well. Dr. Doom became Dr. Akuma, which is Dr. Devil. And he spoke in a Nagoya dialect, which is usually made fun of by speakers of other Japanese dialects because it is hard to understand.
Thank God it wasn't Kansai. That would have been embarrassing.
It's often associated with crass rural bumpkins. So it's in a similar dialect as that. Yeah. So yeah, this cartoon sounds insane. We have the Thing saying he's horny, and for some reason, that weird tidbit made it into our Kamen Rider this week. I don't know why, but they referenced it.
I'm glad they did. I learned a lot today because of this.
We certainly did. So Kieran, thanks for linking all that information. Kieran also says, we knew she was coming back at some point, but the live twin becoming dead twin was not how I was expecting that to happen. Yeah. Even when we saw the Mimic Key was fixed last week, I thought we would get Lascelles to use it or something weird like that, but I guess that works too. Just a couple bits of info on the new father-daughter duo. The family name, Jaldak, actually means stomach, so now we have two stomach families. To add to that, the father's name is Boka, which means mouth, just like Buche, the father of the stomachs. As for the designs, when I first looked them up, it was saying octopus and mouse, which I could kind of see. Apparently that's not the case, though. So we know the stomachs have Norse-inspired designs, Hati and Skull for the twins, and the Kraken for Glotta. For the Jaldax, we're going down the H.P. Lovecraft route. Boca is based on the classic Cthulhu, and Lacelle is based on Nyarlathotep. No, I've not heard of Nyarlathotep, nor do I know what Nyarlathotep is or exactly how to say Nyarlathotep, so I'm just going to write Nyarlathotep a bunch so Josh has to keep saying Nyarlathotep.
That a guy.
I think it's best to stick with octopus and mouse. Kieran always trying to punish me. Yeah, that's cool. I'd seen, I can't remember the language, but I saw some discussion on the last name of the president and the daughter, trying to figure out exactly what it was, and then realizing that it was yet again stomach in some language. I forget what it is, but it is it's following suit with the rest of the Grenouts. And Toby, our second email this week comes in from our friend Shade. Shade says, this president is not making Grenoot World great again anytime soon. Hello, everybody. It's time for some Kamen writing. There's not a lot of news this week, but there is an interesting one. First off, there was a lot of big news last week, and I forgot about two things. Excuse me. Kamen Rider Gotchard's Abyssalis Revelation Lachesis has been released and subbed, which is a special that follows Lachesis' human model before she became a living doll. So if you remember, she had like a music career and stuff, so we get to find out about what her human was doing before she got turned into a doll.
Real quick, German is the other family's stomach language.
Okay, thank you, German. There's also a guest appearance in this special from Ultraman Greed's actor. He got to act all freaky and evil in this, so it was fun to watch, Shade says. And then Shade also tells us that the Kamen Rider Gavv Hyper Battle video special was released. The special is about the gang eating some ramen and doing kung fu.
Hell yeah.
So there you go. At the time of this writing, it doesn't seem like it's been subbed yet, is what Shade tells us. And then also in terms of news, we get one that actually we were talking about in our Discord earlier this week. But we're getting a toku release, or a toku-inspired series from DC Comics. They're putting out Immortal Legend Batman. It's going to be a 6-issue limited series, a 6-issue limited Elseworld comic series called Immortal Legend Batman, set in a futuristic world inspired by tokusatsu superheroes. So if you don't know, Elseworld is kind of the DC Comics version of What If, where they can take characters that they have and sort of set them in different worlds and in different circumstances and tell kind of crazy stories that aren't in their normal continuity. And that's been a long running sort of like blanket term for comics like that. So this is going to be one of those. I think this set's interesting. This series is interesting. Of course, people were talking about Dan Mora. I think he's going to do some of the covers. And he, I think, has done some work on the Power Rangers comic series. He's also a Kamen Rider fan and has drawn Kamen Rider before. This series is also written by Kyle Higgins. If you don't know that name, he has done a bunch of work in the what has come to be known as the Massive Verse, which again is a tokusatsu inspired, Power Rangers inspired comic universe with a bunch of different titles in it over at Image. So they went and got the Toku comic writer guy to come and do Toku Batman, which is the right choice, I think, if you ask me.
Keep it local, or keep it in the family, or keep it something, whatever we're going to call this.
Exactly. So that's all pretty exciting. And Shade says, now that I think about it, a surprising amount of people who work on DC or comics in general are aware of tokusatsu. Alex Ross has worked with Ultraman before. He did some covers for Subayara and Marvel's The Rise of Ultraman comics. And James Gunn, the head of DC Studios and director of the Guardians of the Galaxy film and the upcoming DC film Superman, is also a fan of tokusatsu himself, although mostly just the Showa shows. And then Shade links a couple tweets from James Gunn. One, him saying that I love #Kamen Rider is trending. someone replies and says, wait, hold up, you like Kamen Rider? And him saying, no, I don't like Kamen Rider. I love Kamen Rider.
But he lives in America. How do we ever know these things? That's you know.
Well, let's see. Maybe he just maybe he flies to Japan and he buys DVDs, region locked, of course.
He watches them while he's there.
Exactly.
He leaves them in the library afterwards, so other people can watch them, and he flies back home.
Yep. Properly disposes of them and doesn't bring them back to America. So yeah, that's all very exciting, and I'm gonna check that comic series out when it comes out. It looks like it starts in August. Then she says, let's get on to the producer's blog for today's episode. To start things off, producer Naomi Takebi tells us the process of making an episode of Kamen Rider Gavv. Shade says, it's a pretty long paragraph and was translated with Google. I did my best to make this as readable as possible. So they're talking about how long it takes to make a Kamen Rider Gavv episode. In the case of Sentai and Rider, the director's group will work on 2 episodes at a time, which is why we get a lot of 2-episode arcs, probably, is what Shade says. Yeah, I would agree. That makes sense.
That would definitely be the most realistic reason of why it's always a 2. Why the joke is always there if it's like a 2-episode arc thing.
Yep, because they're literally dealing with them 2 at a time. Call meetings until script are completed. What kind of story and who should we talk about? If there are new weapons or new forms, we all look at the designs. It's a brainstorming session, including chatting about what will happen in the future. After that, plot meeting leads to the first draft meeting, leads to the second draft meeting, leads to the final draft completed. It takes about 3 weeks for 2 episodes. The filming takes about 2 weeks, and the dubbing, after transformation, and Shade says that means dialogue in suit, the Gochizo dubbing is about a day's worth of time, and the finishing work takes about a month for an episode. So that is the All Rush preview, a preview for related parties without compositing, music, or sound effects. Sometimes some corrections are made here. The main editing, which is where we add in the compositing and color adjustments, add in subtitles and stuff like that. And then the MA, adding sound effects and music to the balance. Toy sounds are also added in here. And then finally, the first screening when they are completed. So there's a lot of work that goes into filming an episode of Gavv. And obviously some of this is going to be overlapping. So like they're probably, shooting an episode while they're doing finishing on the previous episode and so on. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that they put out one of these a week for literally all year long. We also get some more info in the producer's blog. Sheeta's actor, of course, the dead twin, was on set for the first time for a while, so she's looking very happy behind the scenes to be back with her family, I guess. The new Granute World location, the big palace we saw, is called the Presidential Residence.
That's a good name for where the president resides.
Yep, I like it. The blog mentioned that President Jaldek's costumes and residence were made in a noble white color that contrasts the stomach's dark and gritty aesthetics. So he's literally the opposite of the stomach family in some regards. Shade says, we also met this guy in this episode. I wonder who that is. And it's the coffee shop owner. So the producer's blog basically confirming that we'll see more of him in some aspect. We don't know how yet. Rocky, as actor, celebrated his birthday on the set of this episode. They got him a giant pudding cake, which is adorable. And Rongo's actor also celebrated his birthday on set. I don't think this episode, but a previous episode. So couple birthdays kicking around there. And Chase said, that's it for trivia today. The person who wrote the blog also shared their biscuit sandwich cheesecake recipe at the end. That's pretty cool.
Everyone loves a good cheesecake.
Shade says, all right, I'm going to go watch The Last of Us Season 2 or something. Bye. Thanks very much for the email, Shade. Once again, if you would like to send in an email like Kieran and Shade did, you can send those over to cast@KamenRiderSucks.com. So lots of fun stuff going on there. Toby, I think that brings us to the end of our scheduled programming for today. Do you have any final thoughts on Kamen Rider on episode 30?
I have a final thought on Kamen Rider. I shared this in the Discord before. I'm going to share it with everybody now. If you ever get to go visit Japan, you want to go to the Iwafuneyama mountain range. It's in Tochigi, Japan. That is the quote-unquote quarry where all of the Sentai and Kamen Rider things are filmed for those battles. And just seems like a nice little mountain you can go visit. And everyone should go visit that if you have the opportunity ever presents itself to you.
Was that an easy Google, or did you have to do some deep research to find this thing?
Vaguely easy. Jokes were made earlier about if I ever got to visit Japan, what would my tourism be? And it's all absurd things like find Yakuza game buildings and some of the classics. And then I thought a funny one would be going to the quarry and taking a picture. And I was like, it's probably a locked off filming place. It's probably something random. But no, it's just an actual mountain peak, mountain range park kind of thing. That's it vaguely looks like it's probably 40 miles north of Tokyo.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It seemed like from the pictures it maybe is kind of a hike to get up there, or it can be if you want that. But yeah, it looked
actually seems to be because they have actual trains and mass transit there and stuff. There's the Ryomo line has a Iwafune station, and the station seems to be 2,000 feet, half a mile away from the mountain range. So you want to get on the Ryomo line, get off at the Iwafune station, and find the Iwafuneyama mountain peak. And this all seems really simple to do, so everyone should do it.
Yeah, that would definitely be a fun thing. Thinking of things to do if you ever end up in Japan. That's on my list for sure. Gotta go see the quarry.
More importantly, also on this line, now I'm looking at the map while we're talking, there's a station called Kiryu. Right by that is Shinkiryu, and there's a boat race Kiryu athletic field. So now I can double up and do Yakuza named things right by the city of Kiryu, and then go visit the Kamen Rider quarry.
Perfect. Right on.
My trip's booked already. Get my ass over there.
Why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's @LifeOfTobes. On YouTube, it's Tobes Plays. And on Retro Achievements, it's Tobes Plays.
For me, you can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol. You can also follow the show on Blue Sky at commonwritersucks.com over there. And of course, subscribe to us in podcast form, and subscribe to us on YouTube if you watch us there as well. Both of those things help us out quite a bit. Giving us a thumbs up on YouTube also is always helpful, of course. And telling a friend, always a super helpful thing. If you have someone else who likes Kamen Rider and would like our nonsense, let them know about the weird things that we do. The more the merrier. So that is going to wrap it up for us for this week. We'll be back next time. We're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 31. We're going to see what kind of nonsense the Stomach family can get up to at that point. And we hope you join us back for that. But until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.